Do you think this is what Eddie Redmayne wears on his birthday, or do you think he probably wears, like, Prada? He probably wears Prada. Oh my god, hey, welcome back to my theatre-themed YouTube channel. My name is Mickey Jo, I am obsessed with all things theatre, and I am a stagey content creator / professional theatre critic here on social media, and this is already hurting my chin. I don't know if I can sustain this. Also, it's my birthday. Yay! In fact, it was my birthday a couple of days ago. I just turned 29, excuse me. My birthday always falls at the beginning of September, which always used to be a new school year. After I left education, I was working in education for a few years as a teacher, if you don't know, before I did this. And while I was beginning to do this, I was working as a maths teacher. So September and my birthday has always kind of been a time of new beginnings for me. Now that I'm a full-time theatre critic and content creator, September marks the end of the summer, and even though we're like halfway through the Broadway season and halfway through the West End theatre season as well, in many ways it does seem to mark a time of commencement still. We are anticipating a bunch of shows about to open on Broadway as we begin to slowly approach the Tony Awards from quite a distance. And here in the UK, the Edinburgh Fringe is officially over and our focus returns largely to London. And I have a lot of stuff going on, and I thought it was time I came on here and gave you a little bit of a life update, as well as revealing a couple of new things. Now, to begin with, I need to update you on something incredibly important. I am talking, of course, about my hair. Let's discuss this. Now, I'm still getting questions like, why did you decide to cut your hair? What's going on the top of your head? Because my hair in previous videos was getting longer and longer, and I liked it, and it was cute, but it was taking an enormous amount of time to maintain. And, you know, we hit the summer, temperatures were getting very high, I was boiling hot all of the time, and I was about to head to the Edinburgh Fringe back at the start of August. I knew I was going to be staying in shared hostel accommodation with a bunch of my friends. I knew I was going to be having long days of theatre, waking up at 8 a.m, going to sleep at like 1 a.m, 2 a.m, 3 a.m, as it turned out. And I thought, you know what would be fantastic? Would be if I could wake up and just go into a shower and take 2 seconds to wash my head and then come back out. So I got a very short haircut and basically shaved all of my hair. And it was very liberating. And I found out in the process, I have a not strange shaped head, which was always a fear in the back of my mind, or head, I guess. Honestly, I encourage everyone to do it at some point. It really is very liberating. And I thought it looked quite nice. Some people even said I was pulling it off. Other people said I looked like 11 from Stranger Things, and now it's grown a little bit longer, but not long enough to style, so it's sort of this just like awkward, fuzzy, short length. I feel like I look less like Millie Bobby Brown as 11 in Stranger Things, and more like Anne Hathaway in her Oscar-winning performance as Fantine in Les Miserables singing I Dreamed a Dream, only with less prostitution and more teeth. Now, my hope is that my hair grows the little bit I need it to before my live show in a couple of weeks so that I can do something with it and I don't look like this, because I'm just wearing a lot of hats at the moment. That brings us to news number 2, my live show. If this is somehow still news to you, I am doing a live show. I did my first one ever, MickeyJoTheatre Live, back in June. It was a huge success. Was it in May? It was in May, but we sold it out. I had fantastic guests, people were really lovely and encouraging. I had a great time. I am so excited to return to the same venue, the Phoenix Arts Club, which is beneath the Phoenix Theatre, where Stranger Things The First Shadow is currently playing in the West End. It's an iconic West End cabaret, late night entertainment bar spot. I'm very excited to be going back there and return to the stage with MickeyJoTheatre Live, which is returning to London as a monthly residency. That means we already have dates on sale in September, October and November, and it's the September one I want to talk to you about, September 22nd, Sunday after next, because tickets are already selling very well, but I haven't told you who the guests are yet. So, do you want to know who the guests are for my September live show? Well, let me tell you. I am thrilled to be joined by the wonderful and incredibly talented Jodie Jacobs, who has just spent the summer appearing in Hello Dolly at the London Palladium. Jodie was an absolute scene stealer in that production as Ernestina Money, and also understudied Imelda Staunton as Dolly Levi, the leading role. However, at this point, and the show is approaching its end, she hasn't had a chance to play that role at the Palladium, so I thought it would be fun to have her as a guest at my live show and maybe get her to sing a little bit of that material. So if you were hoping to see Jodie as Dolly, head over to the Phoenix Arts and we might be making that happen. You may also know Jodie from the earlier runs of Kathy and Stella Solve a Murder, from her recent annual appearances in the Lyric Hammersmith pantomime, and shows like But I'm a Cheerleader and Carrie, a show that she appeared in alongside our next guest, I am thrilled also to be joined by the wonderful Evelyn Hoskins. Seen recently in 42 Balloons, in Spies Are Forever in concert, in Something Rotten in concert, in Spring Awakening in concert, which she also co-produced, by the way. Evie is this remarkable, completely unique talent. I am thrilled I'm going to get the chance to interview her and chat to her a little bit about her very exciting career, as well as possibly get her to recreate one of my favourite performances I have seen this year. I'm talking about one particular song from the musical 42 Balloons, written by Jack Godfrey. Which brings me to my final guest, because I said originally with these concerts I want to platform different British musical theatre composers each month, and I do plan on doing that. And I'm going to be joined on September 22nd by rising star composer Jack Godfrey. You may know his work from 42 Balloons, you may know his work from Babies the Musical, recently seen at the Other Palace Theatre. He is such an exciting composer, he has more projects in development, and we are going to hear, hopefully, a little bit about one of those at the Phoenix Arts. I also have one more surprise guest that you're not going to find out about until the show itself, but isn't that a super exciting lineup? I am absolutely thrilled about getting to chat to these performers and about some of the performances that we are putting together. It's going to be so much fun. I'm really hopeful about what these live shows could become. I want to do them for a long time, every month. I'm hoping to bring this fun energy to the West End, something that people can go to on a Sunday night after seeing a bunch of shows, whether they're in town for a week, whether they, you know, are close to London, whether they see stuff all year round. I want to bring that sense of community, something that we only really have at events like West End Live and the Flea Market and Musical Con. I think it would be great if we could have that more often, and I'm hoping to do that with the late night chat show format at Phoenix Arts. I also already have some very exciting guests lined up for October and November, but I'm not going to tell you about those until we've sold out this September show. So if you help me do that, I'll let you know who you can look forward to. Now, there are a few more VIP meet and greet tickets available for the September show. The way that this works is about half an hour before the show begins, and the show starts at 7:30 in the evening. If you have one of those ticket packages, then I will be there and we can say hi and we can chat and we can talk about shows that you've seen recently. You can ask me my thoughts on stuff and we can take a photo on stage. The lighting is lovely. There are also plenty of other tickets as well at a couple of different prices. And if you are not able to get to the Phoenix Arts Club, if there are rail replacement buses, if you do not live close to London, if you do not live in the UK, or if you just want a ticket at a slightly lower price point, then you can get a streaming ticket. The venue does a fantastic job live streaming the show with multiple different cameras. It looks great. The sound quality is fantastic. If you've seen the trailer I've put out on social media, that is taken directly from the live stream footage, so that's what it looks like. And you can watch from anywhere around the world. I'm going to put a link to get tickets in the description of this video, as well as a pinned comment down below. Please, if you can, come and join me on September 22nd. I promise it's going to be incredibly stagey and very fun. You will also get to meet my lovely stagey fiance, Aeron James. Hopefully the brilliant Ellie Talks Theatre will be there as well. They will be selling merchandise. And speaking of merchandise, and of my lovely stagey fiance, Aeron James, he has been hard at work recently designing some gorgeous and really exciting merchandise. Some of these designs he's been coming up with, we've been looking at and going, I want that and I would wear that. And a subsection of that is going to be available to buy in person at the Phoenix Arts Club. But in very exciting news, and this is the next thing I have to tell you, all of it is now going to be available online. And hopefully by the time you're seeing this video, the merch is launched and is available to buy online. I will link that somewhere around this video as well. It should be now linked to my YouTube channel. I think we're doing hats, we're doing notebooks, we're doing some really cute jumpers, and we're going to add stuff and keep coming up with new things. If you have any feedback on the merchandise, if there's anything particular that you would like to see, let me know. Put that in a comment under this video. I would love to do a custom MickeyJoTheatre plush, because you know, you can't see it right now, but I'm staring at 20,000 different theatre themed plushes. Like, I can grab one right here. I have so many of these. I think it would be hilarious to do little like Mickey Jo's and Aaron's as well, obviously. That may take a little bit of time, but I'm very excited about the merchandise, and I hope you are as well. Like I always say at shows, we care a lot about merch, but we care a lot about good merch and quality merch and merch that actually looks cute and you actually want to wear. And I feel like some of the stuff that Aaron's been putting together recently looks really great. So check that out, grab some for yourself. Christmas is approaching on the horizon. Maybe you have a birthday. I just had a birthday. Buy some merchandise for yourself in honor of my birthday. Honestly, feel free. Do I have any life updates to do with me and Aaron? We've recently started talking more about actually getting round to planning our wedding. I think the thing that's always been in the way of that a little bit is travel and how busy our schedules are, and always doing something like the Edinburgh Fringe, or I mean just the week that's coming up in London. We're in London every day this week, seeing a different show, going to a different press event in the daytime, lots of interviews, lots of really fun, exciting stuff. But it does stop us from just having the time to sit down and go, life and planning, and what are we doing next year, and when are we getting married? But rest assured, as and when we start doing that planning, maybe I'll make a little video talking about it on here. I don't tend to do a lot of personal stuff, but I thought it might be fun to do a video about how we might incorporate some like stagey theatre adjacent stuff into our wedding planning and into the day. I have no idea what that's going to look like yet, but it's just a thought that's in the back of my mind, and I thought you might like to know about that. Needless to say as well, if you have any other questions about stuff that I don't address in this video, feel free to comment down below. Since this is a big life update, I will do my best to answer any questions that you have. Let's talk next about travel. A lot of people have been asking me, when am I going back to New York? And the answer is definitely between now and the end of the year, probably around October, around November. I want to go when I can see as many of the new Broadway shows as possible. In particular, I have my eye on Death Becomes Her and Swept Away, and probably going to see Sunset Boulevard, even though it's many of the same performers that I saw in that same production in London. There's a bunch of other things as well. Oh, the new Darren Criss and Helen J. Shen musical, Maybe Happy Ending. Definitely want to go see Maybe Happy Ending. The Hills of California, a play that I really loved in the West End. I'm so intrigued to see how it'll be received on Broadway, intrigued enough that I want to be in the room to actually hear how that goes down. I want to go see Once Upon a Mattress again. I might go see it with Cara Lindsay, since I've already seen it with Sutton Foster. There's also The Roommate with Mia Farrow and Patti LuPone. Robert Downey Jr. is going to be on Broadway in McNeil. In fact, it's already started previews. And off-Broadway, a wealth of exciting things off-Broadway. I would love to go back to see Teeth. I'm intrigued about Drag the Musical. I am very intrigued about Marla Mindell's new show, Big Gay Jamboree. And that's just the new stuff. I could very easily be tempted to return to Suffs and The Notebook and Stereophonic and Moulin Rouge now that they've announced Saleha Pfeiffer and John Cardoza. Are you kidding me? Yes, I will definitely be going back to New York. Right now, I am not lying or deceiving you when I say we do not have flights booked. We hope to have flights booked very soon. This is probably going to be another longer stay like the first few trips that we had. I am not going to be there for the weekend of the Broadway Flea Market like I was last year, so apologies if you were hoping that I would cover that again or that you might see me there, because that's the same weekend as my live show. And needless to say, that visit will also have to be somewhere between my October and November live shows. The October one is on the weekend of the 20th, which is also MusicalCon weekend, by the way, and you can do both. You can do all of MusicalCon and then still make it to my live show afterwards. I'm calling myself the unofficial after party for MusicalCon, and the November show is on the 17th, I believe. So if I was a betting man, I would say that we would be aiming to go to Broadway between October 20th and November 17th. The US happens to be having something of a substantial election during that time period, but I don't have much anxiety around the idea of being in New York as a state during that time. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but if anything, it might be quite exciting, and hopefully it's a really great day of celebration and it doesn't go the other way. Obviously, I'm talking about hopefully the election of Kamala Harris as the first female president of the United States. Can you imagine the audience at Suffs that night if that happens? Like, I'm tempted to go. I've seen Suffs twice. There's a temptation within me to try and see Suffs that night just to have that reaction. But also, I don't even need that. Like, my soul doesn't need that as badly as a lot of American women deserve that. So I don't even know if I should take up a seat in the theatre that night, because as amazing as that would be, it's not really for me. In terms of other travel, at one point I had in my mind to try and go to Australia in October to go and see both Sunset Boulevard in Sydney and also the non-replica Dear Evan Hansen. It doesn't really look like that's going to be happening because there's too much other stuff to deal with, and it's become quite close and I haven't put all that together. But I am hoping, and I know there are Australians watching these videos, I am hoping to do my first ever trip to Australia to see a bunch of theatre next year. Hadestown is opening in Australia. I still want to see Wicked there so that I will have seen it on 4 different continents. The Dear Evan Hansen production is going to be touring around to multiple other places. Let me know, Australians, when you think is a good time next year to come to Australia and see as much as possible. I think I'm probably going to have to fly around to a couple of different cities, but I don't mind that, honestly. I want to have a full and proper introduction to Australian theatre. And if I could see some original Australian stuff as well, that would be fantastic. I have loved some of the stuff I've seen this year, like Cyrano from Virginia Gay and Fangirls from Eve Blake. I have one teeny tiny trip coming up in December. That one I am going to keep as a little bit of a secret from you, A, because I haven't begun to plan it yet, and B, just because I think it's still fun to have some surprises. What else can I update you about? What else have I been doing recently? I've been writing more. I've been writing some pieces for Musicals magazine. I wrote a feature piece recently for them about fan culture. I've also written a couple of reviews for them that you'll be able to see either in the next issue or the next 2 issues. I'm not exactly sure when each of those is going to be published, but I will be sure to let you know when they are available. I've also had some very exciting interview opportunities recently, some of which you will have seen here on YouTube, others of which will only be posted in shorter clips on TikTok and Instagram. If you're not already following me on those platforms, please go and do so. It's hugely helpful, and there's a bunch of stuff that I only post on different places. There's a bunch of thoughts that I have that just go straight to TikTok because they're not quite long enough or fully formed enough for YouTube. There's a bunch of pictures that I only post on Instagram and a bunch of interview clips that only go on those platforms as well. I met Bjorn recently from ABBA. Can we believe that happened? I was beyond overwhelmed, and he was so incredibly lovely. As I say, this coming week is a very busy one. There are many exciting opportunities coming up with that. I'll tell you about some of the shows I'm seeing soon. I am about to go and see Why Am I So Single? Right now I'm headed to the launch of Clueless and another media night at Guys and Dolls for a couple of the new cast members joining the show. Next week I'm going to be heading up to Nottingham to go and see the UK tour of Dear Evan Hansen. This is like the first major non-replica production of the show, because if you didn't know, the UK tour is not the same production as the West End production, as the Broadway production, so I'm hugely intrigued about that, and I will be making videos about that as well. And in terms of videos, there's lots of other stuff I'm excited to share this month. There are a couple of Broadway reviews that I never got around to filming after my last trip that I'm still planning to make, so do not worry. Similarly, there are a couple of UK reviews that I still have on the back burner, as well as the openings that are happening this month. I want to make a couple of videos that are guides for what to see on Broadway and in the West End this autumn / this fall. I've got some fun vlogs coming out over the next few weekends about how I spent my birthday, which involved a lot of theme parks and theatre trips, which was very fun. I cannot wait to show you those. They were ridiculous and so much fun. And I also want to get back to making videos in the style that I used to back in the pandemic when we were listing things and talking about like my favorite lyrics or my least favorite lyrics. I want to talk more about like some of the best performances in movie musicals and some of the mistakes made by like some of the less successful movie musical adaptations, especially as we approach the Wicked movie. I think it's great to look at this cinematic subgenre with a little bit of focus. So more of those kind of like ranking feature style videos you can expect as well. And I'm going to be seeing Ellie Talks Theatre again this week, and I think we are planning a challenge. We don't know what we're going to do yet, but something fun will be coming. I love making those challenge videos. We all do. They are completely wild, but they're some of my favorite content here on the channel. So if you haven't already checked those out, feel free to go and give those a watch. In the meantime, I feel like that is everything that I can tell you about my life. I feel like you know more about my life now than my parents or certain other people in my life, but it's been nice chatting to you and telling you about everything that is going on. If you're going to be around for the live shows, please consider buying a ticket. It would be lovely to see as many of you there as possible. If you want to watch via live stream, feel free to do that. It would be lovely to know that there are people on the other side of those cameras, just like there is now. As I said, feel free to drop any other questions in the comments down below. Go and check out my brand new merchandise. Oh my goodness. And I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day. For 10 more seconds, I'm MickeyJoTheatre. Oh my god, hey. Thanks for watching, have a stagey day. Subscribe!